Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently working on getting some of this production underway here. We're working on an iron mine and then a motor industry, and beyond that, I do want to address the bureaucracy issue, but I want to take a quick peek at what we've got going on right now with our government administrations here. Yeah, there's no point in building any additional government administrations at this time. The quote-unquote real solution is to raise the government wage. So that's definitely something that we could do, although we can't really afford it at this time. Let's proceed forward for right now, and we're still boosting up the opinion of Russia, so that will improve relations every so often. So that seems good. We'll continue to work on that for now. Now, I still want to go after Herat, but we're not in a position to do so at this exact moment. We're still expanding into Turkmenia, and that seems good for right now. So we're going to get those underway. Tensions are currently high up here. Okay, yeah, so we're going to need to do something about this soon enough. So that's absolutely understood. So we're going to be finishing up this iron mine in Persian Hormuz very shortly. My main question here is, okay, that's fully employed. The wheat farms are not fully employed, nor are the iron mines. What do we have for available population here? Not a lot is the answer. Okay, so we're building the motor industry up in our capital state, and that's reasonably fine. Yeah, I think that's reasonably acceptable. So our subject is now able to increase autonomy. We should do something about that. So we can, let's see here, minus 0.05. What is our current growth here? It definitely says here somewhere. It definitely does say that somewhere. So we can grant them their own market. I don't think we're going to do that. I think we're going to reduce subject payments most likely, but that's going to cause us to have some additional issues here. So what is this growth here? 0.76. Okay. So +2 from relative prestige below 3 point. Okay, so this is a prestige issue. Gotcha. So that is understood. It is a prestige issue, and we definitely do care about that. This is primarily because of our declared bankruptcy, which is at this point about 20% reduced. So that is looking decent. We will continue to... Okay, yeah, there's that forced privatization in there. This is at this point looking pretty good. Now, the Turkmen have launched a diplomatic play against us, and that's to be expected. We're going to mobilize this force, and we're going to deploy them out to this front. I don't expect to need to mobilize our secondary force. So that's understood, and this is a defensive action here. So, in theory, Britain should be willing to do this. Britain should be willing to support us, and I don't think Russia... Yeah, Russia has no real interest... Well, this is China here. Russia has no real interest in either direction here. Russia's back to damaging relations up here, hilariously, but, you know, whatever. So, as part of this, our war goals are to have colonization rights, and we can't add additional war goals, right? Right, okay. So we don't actually need help, we just need to crush these guys real quick, and that'll be fine. Now, we are building up some credit at this point. I'm going to pause our construction here, and that's going to allow us to pay off this debt that we've built up, as well as build up a little bit of gold reserves. I'm going to give this like 2 or 3 weeks like this, and then we're going to go back to constructing. So that'll be reasonably fine for right now. How are we doing on population growth? Okay, it's mediocre. So I'm just going to go to the end of this week. There we go. And now we're going to resume our construction now that we've built up a little bit of gold reserve. So we can build most of the time. That sounds good. So obviously, this motor industry is not really going to do too much just yet. Minus 10% enactment time, huh? Okay. Sure, that seems fine for the moment. Speaking of which, I would like to get a law change going, and we are down to a contested government. That's understood. We're probably going to need to reform our government, although... Yeah, this would just be kicking the military out now. We don't have a law change ongoing, right? Correct. Okay, just wanted to double check that. So with that in mind, we could try to go to professional army again. But I don't think that's necessary at this moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick the armed forces back out of the government. And we're going to get some radicalism out of that. That's understood. But that's going to put us back up into righteous government. And then we could think about a land reform here. So we're on serfdom right now. This would be a good start, but we can actually just go directly to homesteading, which will be a huge, huge blow to the landowners. This will radicalize the landowners, and so would this. We may have to take some more marginal steps first, which would be something like, we're on dedicated police force right now. I think that's good. We're on state religion. We could also go, consumption-based taxation. I feel like that's worse, right? Probably. Okay, so I kind of do want to go this route. So this will still radicalize the landowners. The real question is, do we want to go with that right now? Do we want to just go all in here? Maybe. So who all supports this? Rural folk, intelligentsia, trade unions, and industrialists. If we could pass this, this would be a very big deal. I'm going to give it a go. We can always call in Britain to defend ourselves against the landowners if we have to. So I think that that's a reasonable course of action here then. So that sounds good. The landowners, they're not going to be happy about this, but we're going to give it a go, and we'll see how this goes. We do have a 54% chance of stall, so I don't think this is going to go all that well. But if we fight a civil war over it, it might be fine, actually. So I would like to do something about this situation, but unfortunately, we need to raise up our prestige, right? That's the core issue there right now. So we're going to beat up Turkmenia. This is not going to be a problem at all. That's basically already won at this point. So that's looking good, and we'll see what happens with homesteading. Maybe we get super, super lucky here. Britain is requesting foreign investment rights. Actually, I'm going to accept that. If Britain wants to invest in constructions in our territory, I will take it. That seems good. So that all seems absolutely fine for now. And I don't know if Britain's actually doing any investment right now, but we will grant them investment rights. Okay, so we did hit a stall here. This is not necessarily shocking. And I don't want those government expenses. Rural folk approval or landowner approval. Honestly, we need to take the rural folk approval reduction and not the landowner approval reduction. Something like that. So a stall is not the end of the world. That's for sure. Okay, so let's get Turkmenia under control here. And we are building up a bit of debt during this war. That's understood. I'm going to leave that be for the moment, because I really, really want to get this motor industry done so that we can motorize some of our industries. Now, this is not going to be a profitable enterprise. We have no demand for motor industries right now. These guys are rebellious. That's ambitious. Britain's on our side. I have no problem with this. Okay, so we're going to finish up beating up Turkmenia. That looks good. And our bankruptcy, it's still got 8 years on it, so that's going to take some time. No doubt about that. But that's fine. We'll get there. So it is decaying, and it's getting slightly better. But with Britain on our side, I have absolutely no worries about this. None whatsoever. So we're going to make our way over to this front and get this dealt with. And then the question is, can we get homesteading through? If we can do this, this would be huge. Let's see if we can get anything decent here. Maybe we get a good debate roll. Okay, we hit a stall. That's the most likely thing. So, yeah, we're going to cut through some of the red tape, but that's not ideal. That's for sure. So that's going to harm our already painful bureaucracy, which is understood. We're going to finish up this motor industry, and I don't have another construction queued up after that. I'm going to leave that as it is. So we're going to pay off the debt that we've got right now. So that seems reasonably good. And this motor industry, again, there's no demand for motors right now. We'll get there. So that's now finished. And I want to create a demand for motors, but as we can see, there is a steel shortage. That doesn't surprise me. I should have thought of that. So we're going to need a steel mill somewhere, and we'll put it here. So that's going to take a while to build. But to that end, we could also import steel. I would rather not. I'd rather produce it ourselves, if at all possible. And I would also like to go through and start motorizing some of this stuff. So we can use, like, the atmospheric engine pump here, which actually doesn't consume engines, remarkably. So let's go ahead and do that. And the lead mines as well, and the sulfur mines. There we go. So that's going to create ourselves a coal shortage. Understood. Absolutely understood. So a coal shortage means that we should build a coal mine first. And that actually means that we should not build this steel mill at this moment. I'm going to take that down to 0, and we're going to need a coal mine. So we'll go ahead and put that up here. So we'll get a coal mine going. That'll be done in 20 weeks at this point. Sounds good. So a coal shortage, not ideal. Turkmenia has capitulated. I'm going to import some steel from the British market. And then I'm going to import temporarily some coal from the British market as well. Okay, so no more are we going to have a steel shortage for now. That's a temporary fix, though. We absolutely do have a coal shortage. We could import more from the utilitarian Indian market, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we'll import a decent amount of coal while we work on getting our coal production online. So that seems reasonably good. That's all coming somewhat under control. We have some standard of living issues, and is this because of our taxes? Yeah, I would like to cut our taxes. No doubt about that. I'm going to do it. So that's going to be painful for us, but I would definitely like to cut the taxes. Organized crime, reducing our authority. Ooh, okay. We're getting some kind of awkward rolls here. We'll see if this homesteading manages to... Okay, so standard of living is reasonable-ish at this time. I'm not too concerned about that, but we do have some significant problems here. So we hit a stall here. 10% enactment success chance, huh? Or we could just take an advance here, which is what I'm going to do. That bumps us up to consideration, but now we're only at a 1% success chance. So, that's a little awkward. No doubt about that. But we should be seeing our loyalists, in theory, growing due to our Righteous Government 100. So, hopefully that will take care of itself eventually. Now, we do have a private construction finishing up here in a tooling workshop, so that'll be a good thing. And this coal mine is going to finish in 6 weeks. Now, expensive things are small arms and artillery. Once this coal mine comes through, I'm going to want to get rid of some of the imports. Iron is currently expensive. That's understood. We're continuing to expand up into Turkmenia, and that'll be pretty done eventually, but not quite yet. So we're getting this coal mine built, but once this is done, I'm going to be a little bit concerned about our credit. We're going to definitely want to do something about that. That interest is starting to stack up quite a lot. A lot of this is because we're unrecognized, right? And that's understood. I want to check in on the status of our vassal here. Where do we see our vassal at? Is that under diplomacy? Subjects. Yes. Okay, so this is currently growing by 0.12. The relative prestige is improving, which we knew would happen. We're at 7 years now on our declared bankruptcy, so we're only at about 70% of the overall penalty here. So that seems good, and we're now positive financially, so we'll start this debt snowball rolling, and actually about half of our credit went away, which tells me that something was privatized. Okay, so that seems absolutely fine. The price of groceries is currently high. We're experiencing an input goods shortage of groceries. Not anymore. I was going to say, we do have a food industry, so that shouldn't be that big of a problem. Well, let's see what happens with homesteading here. It's probably going to hit a stall. Actually, we got a debate. I'm going to take the guaranteed 10% enactment success chance, bringing us back up to that 11% chance. If we can pass this, that would be huge. Absolutely enormous if we could pass that. It would be delightful. So currently, our relations with Russia are frozen, and that's not going to be improving. I'm wondering if they're doing anything right now. No, they're just kind of chilling. However, they have rivaled Britain. That's a good thing for us. That means that we can play Britain and Russia off of each other much, much easier, which is the idea here, for sure. So what do we need to construct at this point? Well, we've once again got a groceries shortage. We do have a food industry somewhere. I'm 99% certain of that. So let's check here. Yes, it's in our capital. Okay, so buildings and our food industry here is here. Huh. Is this a market access issue? Because here, the price of food is basically nil. Or rather, the production is basically nil. The price of food is really, really high. We could go to pot stills. That would increase productivity. Do it. And we can't do any canning. But we'll see if that actually changes anything around. But yeah, we just have nothing employed here, is the core issue there. So that's understood. That's just kind of fluctuating around. Oh, thank you for telling me that I don't have any viruses, Windows. Get out of here. This is not the time for that. Excellent. So we are constructing right now, and we're constructing a private construction. We're constructing a coal mine in Kerman. That's okay, and I think we're absolutely fine with that. Now, I would absolutely love to get homesteading through, and realistically, what I really want to do is start getting some sort of an education reform in. Something like compulsory primary school would be great, but I mean, ultimately, I'd like to have even just religious schools. Unfortunately, we need to not have enacted total... Well, we need to... No, I think we will be able to do this, right? Total separation, state atheism, or serfdom. Okay, so yeah, we just need to get off of serfdom. Let's see what happened here. We hit a debate again? Okay, we're taking a lot of administrative strain here, and that's understood. I was hoping that we would manage to get another success roll there, but sadly, or rather, I was hoping that we'd be able to bring up our success percentage. Make protectorate in Persia, huh? Okay, so specifically, Britain is trying to make Kabul into their protectorate. Okay, that's not the worst thing in the world. We're also within Britain's sphere of influence, so we might be able to still work around that. We'll see. Are we out of debt now? We are out of debt, so we could consider a construction at this time. And what are we interested in? Well, there's an iron shortage, but I strongly suspect that the core issue here is employment. Yes. Okay, so that's noted. If we look at the market, what is really most needed at this point? Well, iron, but we don't need to build more iron. Similarly, we've got the artillery foundry here. This is a very awkward chain here. I was hoping it would tell us what the employment of that was. Unfortunately, it did not. So that's understood. Yeah, what we really need is to bring up our literacy at this point. Now, our literacy is rising. It's not great. I think for the moment, I kind of want to just chill on the construction. We can bank up some finances here. And we could maybe raise our government wage at this time. So what this is going to do is this is going to make it more attractive for people to work in our government administrations. So that's going to be useful for us in generating additional bureaucracy, but it's also going to boost up our prestige. And that's going to be a big deal insofar as our vassal here goes. Now, that's still going up by plus 0.02. I want this to start dropping, and that will drop eventually. It's getting better. Okay. Looks decent for now. Now, we have nothing under construction at this time, and if we do construct anything, problems ensue for us financially. So that's understood. But once we get homesteading, that will change things around. And I want to go into our production methods here and see about, okay, coal mines should go to atmospheric engine pump. Absolutely. Okay, we stalled here. We can take a setback and get a 10% enactment success chance and 15% political movement activism. Consider it done. That brings us up to 21% success chance at this time. Excellent. And the landowners are a little bit less angry now. A little bit. I think we might be able to pull this off if we continue to have good luck. 3% prestige, I mean, sure. We could take 3% prestige. That seems reasonably fine for now. We're definitely struggling economically right now, and this is due to the fact that we need to get people literate. Once we get homesteading passed, then we can at least go to private schools. I don't know if we can go to anything beyond that. Would we be able to take public schools? No, we've not invented empiricism. We would potentially be able to go to private schools, which would, of course, give us... It would give us wealth education access, wealth-based education access. Whereas I think that religious schools would actually just be flat better at this moment. Because that just gives us 10% education access across the board, rather than wealth-based. And we're not a very wealthy country at this moment, right? There's no doubt about it. We're on the struggle bus a little bit right now. So, we're working on it. We are getting nice expansion into Turkmenia. That's looking okay. We've expanded a pretty good amount. And Turkmenia might decide to be angry again, but we forced them to give us colonization rights, so they can't really do too much about it, I don't think. So that is absolutely understood right now. So we stalled again here. Ooh, we get another 10% enactment success chance. Done. Absolutely done there. I would love to see homesteading be enacted here. That would be such a big deal for us. That would reduce the political power of the landowners by 50%. 50%. And enable us to get education institutions, which would pretty much single-handedly solve our problems. That's going to be huge. So I'm assuming Kabul is now a British protectorate. They're working on it. Is Kandahar? No. Okay. So that's noted. We're going to look to take some of this territory, and we might... We'll see how things go with Britain later on. Okay. Extreme winds for our harvest. That's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world, so that's understood. Let's see what happens on this next homesteading roll. That's going to be in approximately 30 days. And we're still building up our gold reserves right now. I would very much like to be doing something in terms of construction, and we can definitely think about that. What are we interested in building? Honestly, there's not a lot here. Let's check on the balance. It'd be like furniture. I mean, even that's not great. So I'm thinking right now, instead, we would do like agriculture. So we could go for wheat farms and 0.41, 0.14, 0.43 for rice farms. That might be our best bet. Vineyards, cotton plantations, 0.68. I mean, there's also opium. Opium would probably be our best bet, to be honest. So let's build a single opium plantation. That will be a pretty solid amount of income. And the manor houses are also working on expanding the opium plantations. We hit another stall here, and minus 15% success chance or minus 7%. We'll take the minus 7%. I'd hoped that this would be slightly better, but here we are. We're up to 25%. Okay, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to continue to work on probably some cash crop production at this point. I think that's going to be fairly relevant going forward. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Andy McGard, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.